And I don't know if there's a preference of I could just keep the gallery unless you guys want it to be like a one focus. Does it matter?
No,
Doesn't matter.
No.
All right, well, we'll get started. Like I said earlier, we might be on that 40-minute time clock or whatever, but we should be good to go. Well, guys, thank you for joining our first press conference of the year. Sorry it had to be on Zoom this week, but hopefully we'll go back to in soon. We'll kind of do this the same way we have in the past, where Coach Neal will start out and just kind of give a statement and, about this week's game against Howard Payne. Obviously, this will be our season opener. Howard Payne, they're going to enter 1-0. They beat TLU 36-10 last week at home, and now this will be their road opener, and it's both teams' conference openers. So we'll start with Coach, and then we also have Josh Smith, senior linebacker. He's a fifth-year senior. And then we have Reagan Sullivan, a senior tight end, who's also going to be with us. Both guys are captains, and if you have a question for them, they can just unmute and they'll talk. But we'll start with Coach, and then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, thanks. It's exciting to be in this position finally at long last, to have an opportunity to play on Saturday. Fortunately, we are, I think, with the exception of a few guys that have been either positive COVID cases or are quarantined due to contact tracing, we, aside from a few of those situations, we feel like our team is put back together. We're coming off of a 1 week break, which was disappointing and frustrating in a lot of ways for us to have to take a pause like that. But you do what you got to do. And thankfully, we've been able to get back to practice this week. We had a little bit of a hitch yesterday with lightning that kind of disrupted our practice, but we're not making any excuses. We're focused on getting back on track today and tomorrow, and we'll have a few meetings and some walkthroughs and things to get ourselves fully prepared mentally. We definitely had to play some catch up on the conditioning side of things and get guys back in the flow and kind of knocking some rust off. But we're just excited to play on Saturday. We know we've got a tall order in trying to contain and compete with a good Howard Payne team, maybe the best Howard Payne team that we've seen in the last decade. I don't know. But we know that they're going to be coming in confidently after a big win against Texas Lutheran. It's been a long time since they've beaten those guys. They had been kind of knocking on the door, and I think they kind of knocked it down this time. So we know that they are explosive offensively, and we'll have our work cut out for us to defend the whole field. They like to take shots down the field, and they like to run the ball inside and utilize the field horizontally as well. Got a lot of different guys that can hurt you. Got a good quarterback who's got experience. So that'll be a tough deal, but I'm excited about our defense and getting those guys out there on the field and displaying some of the experience that we have coming back as well, and the leadership, certainly with Josh and others on the defensive side. Offensively, we know that we're going to be playing against an experienced defensive team with Howard Payne. One of their outside linebackers was Defensive Player of the Week in the conference. So they've got some guys that are productive, that have a lot of experience on that side. But I'm also excited about us putting our athletes out there and letting those guys, do what they have the instinct to do, which is to make plays in space and carry the football and make some things happen. So it should be a good ball game. I know our guys are anxious to play against somebody that's in a different color uniform for a change. And I know it won't be hard to get our guys excited about the chance to go out there and play. So we're just thankful for the opportunity and looking forward to it.
Coach, I understand you've lost a couple of defensive backs. Are those injuries, or are those COVID protocol? And what's the status there?
Well, I don't know what I can legally say. I'll just say that they're not injuries. So okay. If it's a binary choice between one of those two, you can use your imagination. But yeah, we are going to be missing a couple of guys that are, typically guys that we count on. One of them being a team captain, Keyshawn Jonathan, and Javarius Seals is an outstanding corner that came on really strong for us in the spring. After switching over from the offensive side of the ball. So it's frustrating. It's disappointing not to have those guys, but thankfully, due to the efforts of our coaching staff, we feel like we've recruited really hard and really well, and we have some depth now in the secondary and in other positions on both sides of the ball. So it'll be next man up mentality, and we'll be looking for some other guys to step in there and provide the same kind of productivity that we would have expected from Keyshawn and from Seals. So we just have to adapt and overcome whatever's thrown at us, and looking forward to seeing some guys get a chance to get out there and show what they can do.
Coach, I assume the fact that you do have some depth really indicates how far this program has come, because that could have been crippling a year ago.
Without a doubt, we are no stranger to adversity and having to shuffle the deck and move guys from different positions. That's definitely, we had to do that pretty much all year in 2019, and we had to do that at various points in the spring 2021 season that we had just those 5 ball games. But I commend our coaching staff. They're constantly evaluating and working to get the best combination of guys on the field as possible. And if we've got to move somebody from one side of the ball to the other to do that, and we've made some pretty good discoveries along the way. And Seals is one of those examples. I mean, that guy came in as a receiver, ended up moving over to the defensive side, and has been a great fit over there. And now that he's not playing, it gives other guys an opportunity. Chris Baker is a guy that's played safety and he's played some corner. So, you might see that guy playing out there at some corner at times occasionally. And then, to your point, we feel like for the first time since I've been here, we feel like we are more insulated and we can absorb that kind of blow, whether it's COVID related or whether it's an injury. And that those things are going to happen. And I think a good football team that's growing and that's developing, that's something that you've got to see come along is being able to develop, competition and practice at those positions and depth. And I mean, Josh is an example right there. I mean, he's been such a durable player. And thankfully, we hadn't had to worry about not having that guy out there because he's been so consistent. But we do feel like even now, if he has to be on the sideline for any reason, we feel like we've got other guys that can step in there and that can hold the rope. Certainly, it's not the same when you don't have your starters and your best guys out there, especially ones like him who have that experience and they're going to make plays. But the cupboard it's not bare anymore. So that's a good feeling.
Good.
Even with all that though, still how tough is it to not have that one non-conference game to kind of see what these guys are able to do going into a conference schedule where you guys kind of want to do some things?
Yeah, I think, it really started, we for the first time, we felt like we had the numbers and the depth to be able to play a scrimmage game against outside competition. Going into even prior to the Trinity game, we were scheduled to play against Trinity Valley Community College, which is, a program that's got a lot of Division I players and good players. And, out of safety concern, we decided to forfeit that game and to not play that scrimmage in hopes that we could get ready to go play against Trinity. And whenever that game was off, we were definitely looking forward to it because Trinity is always going to be a competitive team, and it gives you a good gauge of where you're at as a program, going into your conference play, which what you're going to get week in and week out in the ASC. So we're going into it blindly. I mean, I know coaches say this all the time that a lot of times you make your best improvement between your first game and your second game. And this is our first game. And it just is what it is. We got to get out there and find a way to be ready to go and to not make any excuses and to just go play and compete to the very best of our ability. And, we'll take whatever comes. We're just thankful for the opportunity to compete and play. And we know that we're going to be playing against a good football team with Howard Payne. And, in the end, I don't think we want it any other way. We want to get out there and see where we're at as a program. And I know that we're going to be tested on Saturday by these guys. And that'll give us a chance to assess forward, regardless of the result on Saturday.
And then I know little bit of a quarterback battle this fall from a couple guys who got some good experience in the spring. Just how did that shake out, and who do you expect to be under center for that first snap Saturday?
Well, we've definitely had healthy competition, and the three guys that played for us a bunch are Carlos Garibay, Richie Luna, and Dexter Weibel. All three of those guys came in ready to compete and prepared to compete for that position. The best thing that we've got going for us is depth right there. If any one of those guys is out there and goes down for any reason, we feel like we've got somebody that can step in there, and we're not going to skip a beat. Each one of those guys does something differently, extremely well. Richie's a guy that is extremely accurate. He's got a really quick release, and you saw that, especially in that Louisiana College game. He really put our team in a position to win that game. And so we've got a lot of confidence in Richie. Dexter is a guy who, he can really hurt you with his feet. Richie can do the same thing. He can extend plays. Dexter's one of those guys that you can snap it to him and he can basically play running back. He throws a good deep ball, and he's really improved his footwork, and he's improved his release and his accuracy on the intermediate and short stuff. And then, Carlos, when you look at what he's done, just the experience, and mentally he grasps what we're doing just as well as our coaches do. So, and he throws extremely accurately. He's not afraid to get out there and lead our guys. Our guys respond to him. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to tell you who's going to be starting right now, but we expect to be able to play any one of those guys and be able to score points, move the football. And we know that it's going to be critical against Howard Payne with such a high-powered offense. Our offense has got to be, a great complement to our defense by being able to, make first downs and touchdowns.
Jordan, you're talking about the depth of your team. I know you got a lot of freshmen and sophomores, but do have some seniors like Josh, like Reagan. I know that's what the program aspires to get a good solid core of seniors moving through. Talk about what those two guys and your seniors in general, now that this is their third season under you, and what that means for this program moving forward.
Well, the first thing I would say is that I wish that I had these guys, for 4 years, 5 years, they're all going to be missed a great deal, and it's a funky situation just because of the COVID redshirt year. There may be a few of those guys that have the opportunity to come back and play again, next year, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But like for Josh, we know that this is the last rodeo for him. And he's going to be sorely missed whenever, when he's not around anymore, for who he is as a person, certainly the productivity on the field, the leadership, all those and the way that guy has grown. Jalen Gomez, same way. Dan Zarzoza at center has started pretty much every ball game that he's been a part of, since his freshman year. So I could go on and talking about each and every one of those guys, but I have tremendous respect for them for, going through a coaching change, all the uncertainty that's involved in that, and just putting their faith and trust in me and our staff. And it's not an easy thing to do, when you're recruited by somebody else, and then all of a sudden, a new regime kind of comes in, and you've got to, maybe unlearn some things and do some things kind of starting back over from scratch. And that's what those guys have done. So I have tremendous respect for them, and they've given us the ability to point out to our young players and say, hey, that's a finished product. That's what we want you to look like 2, 3, 4 years from now, after joining our program. We don't have a lot of those guys. I call them the last of the Mohicans. They're kind of the last of a breed. But we expect to have much larger senior classes moving forward, from the recruiting classes that we've brought in. So it's only up from here, and those guys have provided a tremendous example for the senior classes that we expect to have, certainly next year and moving on into the future.
Josh, for one, we certainly appreciate the leadership that you have shown, and to see these young guys coming up. I know we're heavy on sophomores, freshman sophomores, and we know that they will always be looking up to you, and how important it is for you to keep their heads straight, keep them there, and to keep them playing well. And we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you guys.
Well, Coach said this is your last rodeo. As you get ready to saddle up for this last season, what are some of the things rolling through your mind, Josh?
More than likely, I'm just thankful for Coach Neal for sure, and every coach that's been here the entire time I've been here. Honestly, I think about it every day. I step in that field and I strap up my helmet for what's the first of the last. The first last practice, your first last game. So I'm just incredibly thankful. It's a good perspective to be in, and thankful for the blessings that God has given me over the last years I've been here, and the blessings of these coaches and these men that have had such a great impact on my life, and the impact I can have on younger men's lives. So it's just it's a great perspective to look from, and it's honestly a great feeling, to kind of see the work that you've done kind of come to fruition, and just kind of look back on the years that I've been here. So I'm very thankful.
Okay. Reagan, your thoughts?
Well, I think just kind of like Josh, it's a blessing to get to play college football. There's no doubt about it, and it's a blessing, even bigger blessing, to play college football at McMurry University. I wouldn't want to do it anywhere else. I told Coach Neal a couple of weeks ago that this is a dream that I'm getting to live out, and I know a guy like Josh, it's a dream he's getting to live out, and so many other guys, and so I'm just excited to be a part of the program and get to stand here and do something like this, and it's awesome to be wearing McMurry colors doing it.
Coach Neal, I know this has really been a whirlwind couple of years. I know this is something that no one could have expected. And are there concerns? I'm sure there are in everybody going forward, not only this year, but where are we going? How can we stay prepared? How can we keep the enthusiasm up? Because it's got to be difficult, not only for McMurry, but for all the other teams in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's there are a lot of reasons why you could hang your head and say, man, why did this happen? And as a first time head coach, to be dealing with a global pandemic and everything that we have to deal with, in that regard, while you're trying to turn a program around and you're trying to build a program, it's tough. It's tough. But I think the lesson is that you can only control the things that are within your control, and you can't worry about the things that are outside of your purview. And we have had to have a great attitude, and we have had to lock our jaw in and focus on the things that we can control. And that is our attitude, our preparation each and every day at practice. And then ultimately the product that we put on the field is what we're responsible for. And we want to give our alumni, we want to give our fans, our parents, our administration, faculty, staff, everybody on our campus, we want to give them something that they can be proud of. And people know that we have had to struggle through some challenges, and there have been some things that have stood in our way. But we feel like we've made a lot of progress, and we've grown and we've matured a lot. And I think Josh and Reagan are really good examples of that. They're humble guys. They're not going to sit here and brag about anything that they've done. All they do is talk about the team and talk about the privilege it is to get to be leaders in our program. And they've earned that. And I'm very proud of that, and that's not the type of thing that shows up on a scoreboard. But believe you me, those are things that are going to do these guys, that are going to serve these guys well as they go out into the professional world, as leaders in their community. And ultimately, that's the thing that I'm going to be judged based upon. But I think if we continue to keep that attitude and not worry about the things that are peripheral, I think you're going to see McMurry football continue to get better, and you're going to see a lot of tangible results on the field on Saturdays as well.
Guys, just a heads up, we got about a little under 9 minutes for questions if you have 2 or 3 more.
Where's the Raising Cane's? Do we just come by your office, Mike, and pick that up?
Next week for sure. Next week for sure. And Josh and Reagan, you can come back for that too. Well, I'll ask one if I'm able. Josh, I want to talk to you about, I've heard Coach Neal say this before. You may go down as one of the best players to ever play at McMurry, especially at linebacker. You're 5th in all-time tackles, and I know like stats aren't always a big deal to you, but talk about what it means for you to be kind of in that, upper echelon of players and to be among some of the greatest tacklers in the history of this program.
For me personally, and like Coach Neal was just saying, I've never really been a guy to always kind of be flamboyant about those kinds of things. I've always been a team player, been more concerned about what we do as a team and what we do as a whole. But in this, certain aspect, I'm honestly, all I can say every time I've asked this question is I'm grateful, for all the people that have had a hand and an egg in my basket when it comes to being the position that I'm in. I'm forever grateful for them, every coach, every teammate I've had, my parents, my God, of course, just to be in this position. It's where I can make history. It's been a lot of people, a lot of hard work, a lot of long nights, a lot of early morning workouts, a lot of blood, sweat, tears has been put into this product that, I'm so proud of being able to put out on that field every day. So to finally all come see my hard work come together in the very end and to have a chance to leave, McMurry is one of the best to do it. I'm really grateful for everybody who's had a part in it. So it's a great feeling.
Then Reagan, I want to ask you this question, kind of more of an off the field deal that could translate to on the field, but you were named the ASE Sportsmanship Athlete of the Year on the men's side, and also the McMurry Warhawk Scholar Athlete Servant Leader of the Year, Heart of a Warhawk. So obviously you're a leader in the community and you do things the right way, and you're obviously a model scholar athlete, but how will that translate for you in your senior season, and what do you expect to accomplish on the field, knowing what you do off the field?
Well, I think all that stuff is cool, and winning awards is nice. It's nice to get recognition like that. But kind of like Josh said, those aren't really things that I'm ever focusing on or hoping that I get. But with that being said, I think that I'm different than Josh in the fact that you're probably not going to see Reagan Sullivan as an all-time leader in anything in the McMurry statistic book. But I think that the things that I've done off the field can help me on the field. And, I play a position in our offense that, what we do really is serve other people, and I love doing it. I love doing it. I love blocking. I love putting my face in there and trying to get guys the ball, and get guys some shine and hopefully, lead to us being a more productive offense. And I hope that I can also bring leadership quality to our offense as a whole and our team as a whole, and lead some guys in the right direction and keep everybody focused on our goal to compete to win every game. So that's how I feel about it.
And Reagan, let me ask you about the fact that the program is getting better. What's it like to have been on the ground floor as the program starts turning the corner? There's some lighting out the end of the tunnel, and you were there as part of that, and this is your senior year. Talk about that aspect of it a little bit.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see what Coach Neal and Coach Garcia, our offensive coordinator, and Coach Jennings, our defensive coordinator, and all the other coaches associated with the program. It's amazing to see what they've done. I think that when I first got here in the fall of 2018 to now, the fall of 2021, it's almost unrecognizable. The program, you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know that it was ever any different because these guys have gotten in and they've acted like since day one that McMurry is a 5-star place and it's the place to be, and we believe it. We all believe it, and that's why we're here. And so it's awesome to see the development of the program, and I know that it's only going up, and we're all excited about it.
Coach, I know you don't want to put too much importance on any one game and anything like that, but when you look at preseason standings and predictions and things like that, and you have a game against one of those teams that's maybe right ahead of you. Is that an extra emphasis when you're saying we're trying to build something to where we are one of those top programs, and to be there, we've got to take down some of those that are seen or are a little bit ahead of you guys?
Yeah, I think any coach, anybody that says that they don't look at that stuff and they don't recognize it, I don't think that they're being completely truthful. Now some people put more emphasis on it than others. I certainly don't look at it as any kind of as a real indicator of what's going to happen on Saturday. I firmly believe that the team that wants it the most on the given day is typically the team that's going to come out on top. That's not a guarantee. Some teams are just better than others on that day. But I think a lot of it comes down to who wants it more that day. And you look at Howard Payne. I used to coach there, and I've seen some of the good, the bad, and the ugly there at Howard Payne. And we built a competitive program during my time there. And there were certainly highs and lows. And I know that that's a place where you can build a successful program. I think Coach Braxton Harris, who was there prior to Coach Bachtel, did a great job of leaving it in a good place. And Coach Bachtel, I mean, he's a Howard Payne alum, loves that place, got a lot of family that went there, and he played there. So those guys have a lot of pride in what they're doing. For us to, a couple years ago, to be picked dead last, and the predictions were right, as much as I hate to admit that, and we felt like we had some ball games that we could have and should have and would have won had it not been for certain things that transpired. But it transpired the way it did. And then for us to get some skins on the wall in the spring and to upset some people and to be a much more competitive team, I think you see that and you recognize that, hey, people see that we're getting better. It would be a huge win, huge victory for us to go out there and beat these guys, just on the face of the fact that they're a good team. But certainly kind of being in that middle tier in the ASC, I mean, we see that and we know that this is the type of program that we need to be able to go out there and compete with and beat in order to get where we want to go, which is, in the upper part of our league, which is the best in the country, in my opinion.
Okay, so we got about a minute and a half to go. Thank you, Coach. Is there we got time for one more question if it's quick.
Are hot dogs on Saturday?
Yes, and hamburgers.
All right.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for being a part of our press conference today. As always, our press conference is presented by Raising Cane's, but also it's part of our First Financial Bank First Look. So they are also going to be our sponsor this year for press conferences and for previews and for first down.
Well, thank you, all you guys. And Susan, it's nice to see you too.
Nice seeing you too, Lisa.
All right. Coach, Reagan, Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All. Appreciate it.
Guys.
All right, guys,
Thank
I'll
you.
let you know next week what we decide to do.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Y'all take care. Appreciate it.